While you were going about your day.
Flying disc.
And we're back for DUM number 7! Yeah, DUM number 7, which is V2.
Welcome back to DUM. Really happy to be here again for another successful version of our chit-chat show, incorporating life, politics, and all things fun.
All things fun, which almost rhymes with dumb. 7 is a very lucky number in some countries, but in England, the lucky number is number 10.
Yeah, I don't think I can argue with that.
It's why they changed all of the money system from, whatever the hell it was, that, rat's butts and a nun's elbow. That's what they... how much is that? Oh, it's a nun's elbow.
I know that they used to actually use letters instead of numbers, and I don't know exactly what year they decided to change money into coins, but it seems to have worked out pretty well because everyone loves money.
Money used to be just purely word of mouth. So it used to be like, oh, can I have that there, please, sir? And he would go, yes, pay me back on the grapevine.
I'm not exactly sure when IOUs became a taboo, but I did offer an IOU to a shopkeep when I wanted to buy some Rizla. I didn't have any change. Embarrassingly, I was short of a couple of pence. He actually let me off, which was, surprising, especially in a town like this where, you will pay.
Good word for any kind of product that is worth it. So we've got some really cool music on the show. We got Policia, Satellites, which is a guy that we know who's got so many different names, DA10 from Brighton, and also Murder He Wrote from Brighton.
And, on the topics of discussion, we've got Just B and his endeavours at the moment. We're going to be talking about the definitions of a few selection of words.
Also this week, Elliott got his wisdom teeth taken out, so we're going to be following that journey. We recorded it all the way.
We're going to be looking at the survivors around the room.
Okay, so we're back after that really, really lovely tune.
Lovely.
By Policia. And now we were mulling over the idea of whether we really should mention this, but it has been big in the news and it's been big over the past week or so. But it's actually about the government spending £10 million on Margaret Thatcher's wedding. And I thought she was already married, Elliot.
I'm taken, away by the amount of press on the wedding. I was quite surprised about it. I'm just curious to how she's going to look on the big day.
It's not like Lady Diana's getting married again or anything like that. It's just a standard wedding. It's not like Jordan's getting married to Peter Andre again, which would be like massive news. I mean, I'd give £10 out of my own back pocket for that kind of action. But yeah, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's right for the government to spend £10 million on Margaret Thatcher's wedding?
It's just a shame that the Arts Council had to take a sideline on their £10 million budget for them to obviously spend it on the wedding, but I suppose it is justifiable.
I mean, they call her the Iron Lady. Do you feel like if we're quite lucky, we're going to see her come out in an iron wedding dress?
But they have got an Iron Man. Iron Lady only seems necessary, really, doesn't it?
I mean, there is actually an iron shortage as well, but that's why they've got £10 million, because the prices of iron have gone up ever since cashforiron.com has come into fruition, which is a word that I learned the other day on Sesame Street. I mean, the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher, a lot of people don't agree with her policies. She got rid of, she got rid of all of the coal mines. She literally went there herself and filled them up with a shovel.
The lack of jobs, people nicking copper as a kind of hipster way of, defying against the fashion of iron. I don't know.
I mean, it's ever since she used to be a scientist and then got trapped in this cave for ages during some sort of a war, and then like her heart got taken out and then got replaced with this kind of radioactive core, and then in that cave she built a suit and then became a superhero of Britain, Iron Lady. I mean, when she started putting all these very unpopular things through, people were saying, oh, why don't you stop her? But she would just fly off using thrusters from her hands, just fly off and then just start doing energy blasts at people, killing thousands and thousands of people, and then would just kind of like land and go back to a cave. She's also a billionaire entrepreneur, so why does she need the money from the government?
Exactly. Not forgetting the sidekicks. You've got David Cameron. You had the later appearance of obviously Clegg,
arch nemesis Miliband, whose power is the power of having really big teeth. It's not as powerful as maybe Margaret Thatcher's power to fire bolts of power straight from her fist. Maybe she's just holding the government to ransom. You pay for my wedding, otherwise I'm going to just blow up Downing Street, my old home.
Who knows?
I mean, let's just double check on the internet here, just to see, what is actually going on with this at the moment. Okay, so Margaret Thatcher's it's
how awkward.
That it's not a wedding. It's
Mitch, it's a funeral.
Now we've got a great tune by Meddler and Pedestrian called T.R. Wilson. Which might be Transistor Rhythm Wilson, but I'll leave that to you experts out there.
Dumb.
There's a pop star that's running riot all around Europe, just offending everybody. He used to offend people before he was even offensive. Like, people actually just hate him.
You couldn't put it better.
We're going to call him a code word, or a code name just called Just Be.
Just be.
Just Be.
Just be.
Just be.
Well, first of all, he kind of came to England and then he had a show, loads of girls and very underage girls mainly, looking to see him at a concert. He was about 3 hours late. Then he went to Germany with his pet macaque monkey, which got put in quarantine. He just left the monkey there and then went to Amsterdam and went to Anne Frank's museum, where he offended people, which I think it's not so offensive, but he offended people by writing in a notebook saying, oh, I think that Anne Frank would have been a Just Be fan.
Alongside the fact that he ran out of his hotel room previously, kind of pushing camera crews out the way, and then got called an American wanker.
Jerk off.
Which then he jumped back out the cab and obviously tried to hit one of the paparazzi.
So jerk off.
Exactly.
Yeah, he tried to hit a paparazzi.
Yeah, he did. He actually tried to swing for him. But then, yeah, to write about, Anne Frank being a Just Be fan.
I think that Just Be, he's still young, he's still going to go out there, he doesn't know what he's doing. He also, killed a paparazzi apparently as well by accident, because the paparazzi went on the motorway trying to take a picture of him and got run over. That's actually true. Like 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, and then also, have you seen his clothes? Like, sometimes I wish I could wear really good clothes, because I've got like so many second-hand clothes. I don't think I've got any first-hand clothes. I wear the most crappy clothes ever. I was wearing like a gold suit the other day. It's because all I had that was clean, only because you can't clean a gold suit, so it's always clean. And he had these things, his trousers were so low, they looked like jeggings that were like made for someone that's really obese, worn by a small girl, and it looked like he'd shit himself, basically, is what it looked like.
Yeah, and I noticed the other day as well, I think a woman of around 1993 actually bidded up to £100,000 on eBay to buy Just Be's face, which she could then grow in a plant pot to then sellotape to her face.
And there's a bit of an epidemic at the moment, because merchandise has just gone absolutely crazy for Just Be. You can now buy a Just Be suit, and everyone hates him for one, but now we see gangs of Just Be going around, and we don't know if it's actually Just Be going to Germany with a macaque or writing in Anne Frank's diary, or it's one of these kind of imposter Just Be's that are going around wearing his skin suit.
And, the worst part about it is there's actually a chant going around the country. Just be, just be, just be, just be. Some people could think that's almost motivating. I know people in the past have told me, like, just be yourself.
Now it's time for Elliott's teeth.
His tooth extraction fiasco. Woo!
Elliott's wisdom teeth.
It's with their roadworks on the Lewis Road. You can spend a fortune just getting out of Coombe Road, can't you?
Is it? Which one's that? Coombe Road?
Yeah, because they've got the temporary traffic lights and that there, haven't they? Yeah, well, don't you know where you're going? Exactly.
No.
We're looking at a house or something?
No, he's getting his wisdom teeth pulled out because he's not allowed to get sedated without someone there, because it proper drugs you out.
Oh, so you're going to the dentist there?
He is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And if you're about to be beaten up, I can assure you a fire engine with 10 burly firemen turning up far better than a police car with one female policewoman.
What's the best part about being a cab driver?
Finishing.
What's the weirdest conversation that you've had with somebody that's ridden in your cab?
I used to drive a saloon car, and this bloke was one of the reasons I switched to one with a screen. Anyway, then we go to the Downs crematorium, and just going along the Lewis Road towards it, and he suddenly announces how he's got a axe in his briefcase, and he's going to chop everybody up when he gets there. And I'm agreeing with everything he says. You can imagine. And he was just totally... It was, very bizarre, very bizarre.
knows it how to move. We both can get into the groove. She's a girl I can't admire. On top of that, she lights my fire. She takes me for a ride. She feels so good inside. Oh, oh, oh. She's an indie girl. Oh, oh, oh. I want to go say that. Oh, oh, oh. She's an indie girl. Oh, oh, oh. I want to go say that. Hey, ah, 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 hey, ah,
Now we've got to talk about the BBC. So we put BBC Three on, and we watched a programme basically about teenagers learning to drive. And what was it called? Barely Legal Drivers, which, in all crude honesty, sounds like a horrible kind of porn.
Yeah. So ultimately, the goal was to, secretly hyphenate, secretly film new drivers behind the wheel. Their parents are watching from a laptop. The goal is to win a car or advanced driving lessons, judged by a gappy-toothed patrol officer or ex-patrol officer. Obviously what we were discussing throughout the programme was, well, you can go from here, Mitchell.
Well, we were discussing throughout the programme how, the BBC come up with this genius formula for really, really shoddy programming, because everything on BBC Three has this same kind of mundane quality. They just go to a strange town, get what might be classed as the average British teenager in an attempt to identify with their target audience, which might be cool, hip, foundation, binging teenage wreckheads.
Exactly. Did they pick the north of England, which obviously is in decline of jobs, to represent Britain?
Other things that the BBC have been up to as well. So a bunch of students went to North Korea from some sort of economics school, and what the BBC did was send a few people with them that the students just believed were normal,
right?
Normal people kind of accompanying them. But there was actually a team from Panorama trying to do an undercover scoop on North Korea. And apparently it might have put the students' lives at jeopardy, and the BBC didn't tell anybody. They just kind of kept it a little bit to themselves, which is, BBC is in deep shit.
So there is a threat of a nuclear attack on the world from North Korea, and they take a selection of young, enthusiastic students to have secret cameras. Surely we learnt the fundamental, problems with that from Godfather, or even from he's got a wire.
Yeah.
Let's shoot him.
Yeah. From Last of the Summer Wine, and also from Watership Down. We've learned all of everything we need to know from them kind of programs.
Exactly. Don't run in open fields with your animal friends.
Yeah, barbed wire is dangerous. And
okay, so the leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-un,
and in English that's Kim Jong-un.
He's actually thinking about kind of starting his own t-shirt enterprise, apparently.
All they're going to be doing on the t-shirts is writing King Jong-un is number one.
King Jong-un is number one. Exactly. And almost, I almost want one.
I think it's quite strange that North Korea and South Korea get all this press, but what about, East Korea and West Korea? Surely maybe they are probably some of the most boring places in the world, that although all this stuff's going on, no one really cares about them.
That's the thing. East Germany and West Germany, whatever happened to North and South Germany?
Elliott's wisdom teeth.
Did your dentist give you some medical forms?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Signature there, please. And if you could do me a favour, please, if you could just give us a little bit of medical history.
Right.
We'll get you straight away.
It's like a conservatory, isn't it?
Yeah, when the customer was here, I just come out of the dentist chair and I can't feel my tongue.
So funny. What do you feel like, drunk?
Yeah, I feel like I've had about three cans and I felt alright and it didn't hurt, weirdly enough, and I didn't get nervous. I asked him if there was ever a time that he'd slipped while the clamp was on my mouth, and he didn't answer me. But for now, we're going to be looking at the survivors around the room. I see yellow, black. How big's my lip look?
Really big.
What, really? Honestly?
Got like a swollen face.
No, I haven't. Update soon.
Now what we have is a tune called Respirator by DA10, which is a two-piece group from Brighton, just a crazy synth player and a crazy beats player on the MPC. And yeah, can't wait for you to hear it. We found it on accelerator.com that they're giving it away for free pretty much, so yeah.
Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathing is done to a rhythm. To a rhythm. To a rhythm.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the word pretentious now. Because, I don't know, I just always find that kind of word annoys me. It's such a cop-out for saying what you really think. Definition of it is attempting to impress by affecting greater importance, talent, culture than is actually possessed. I know, the synonym for it is showy. What do you think in terms of something being pretentious? I think it's just like, how can you say something pretentious? Like,
I think it has become one of those popular words in, criticism, such as irony.
When people say things, go, oh, literally, that was literally. Apparently, the right word is figuratively, not literally. Apparently, literally is not the correct word. The correct word is figuratively.
Right.
Although figuratively sounds like it's more about numbers. So like, oh, here's £9.56. All that is figuratively £9.56 because it actually is. But I mean, I don't know if it literally is. So yeah.
Right, you're so pretentious.
I'm not pretentious. Like it says here, the pretentious attempting to impress by affecting great importance, talent. No, fair play actually. Yeah. I don't have any culture, and I think talent's apparently it's an Americanism.
What, the word talent? Why?
Because apparently it was made in America, which makes it an Americanism.
Wow.
You won't. Yeah, Britain's Got Talent is like a real massive contradiction.
I really, really would like to, take a time.
Yeah, no, I'd like to take a time as well and just stick it back in my watch where it belongs. You know what I mean? Just whack it right in there.
I mean, the word pretentious it almost reminds me of that whole hipsterism, that kind of area of culture. With people using a higher kind of form of language to belittle someone when in fact, it is ironic that they don't really know what it means.
And they use the word ironic a lot of these hipsters. Yeah, so I like how you brought in hipsters there because maybe they are the fundamental what people would say, oh, that guy's well pretentious. Look at him with his gigantic moustache. And he twists his moustache around as if, oh, he's trying to look good. He's really trying to make himself look really good because I don't care what I look like because I'm not pretentious. I know I look like shit. I like hipster Hitler. I do. I think he's probably one of the coolest hipsters there are, while also being one of the worst humans to have ever lived on the planet. So one of the best hipsters, but then one of the worst humans. So,
and I think living in a town like Brighton, I think you do come across it a little bit more. Tight Levi jeans, kind of rolled up at the bottom, white socks, kind of brogue shoes, high-collared check shirts. I think it is all part and parcel of living in close to London.
Drinking international beers.
Yeah, I noticed you drink quite a few around your boom. I suppose you would.
Hey, come on, man.
I don't want to be drinking those Carlsberg. I'll have an Roger boom.
No, you feel like you have 3 cans.
4 cans, yeah.
Really?
Leather.
Is that what that is on your hand?
They injected me, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
What was all the fuss about, Elliot? What happened?
No, there was no. No, I was just really eager.
No, it's only just the anaesthetist got stuck.
Is that a lot stronger?
It's a lot stronger, yes. It's a lot stronger. It's called advanced sedation. It's just to help you to relax. But then you still have to have local injections.
Yeah, that's right.
Always have to.
So when people come out of their normal...
Try not to talk at the moment, Elliot, okay? Try and just keep your pressure on. We've taken a wisdom tooth out for you. You've got some gauzes in your mouth. With those gauzes... Excuse me, I need you to listen to this one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm going to look at Elliot, but he doesn't know what's happening at the moment because we've sedated you.
Oh, okay.
So, we've taken our wisdom tooth, so I just need you to keep the pressure on there. Okay? Just for a few minutes while I sort things out.
Yeah.
I didn't see the tooth. I wanted to see it.
Just relax yourself, okay? Relax, Tessie. Eyesight, hearing, everything is working except short-term memory. So look at lapsidaisical. Doesn't register, therefore you don't remember. Okay? Later on you'll say, well, I could hear everything that's going on, which you can. But you can't make sort of coherent sentences out of it. It's as though you're about 5 or 6 pints. But for the pain, you still have to have local injections. Okay?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, because that one was what it was underneath was eroding, is that right?
That's why it's...
They, No, I can't remember what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all right.
No. How long does it last until that wears off?
We're off in a couple of hours, but the effects will be there for about 12-14 hours. And that's how long you're going to stay with him, Mitch.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm just going back
We're
in.
not going to go for a pint then.
Respect.
Now we have a remix to You Chose. It was by Temples, and it's a remix. What's explain that?
It's a so the next tune we've got coming up is by a band called Temples, which are quite popular in Brighton. This is a remix by Society 1, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I did. DUM.
You came on over to me. I read a prophet to you. Take all the time that you want to. Make up your mind how you go. Take me in time to the music. Take me away to the twilight zone. Take me away to the twilight zone. We stayed up late in a dream. We read a play with no theme, in which our love pursued, in which I spend with you. I came on over to you. I came on over to you. Take all the time that you want to. Make up your mind how you go. Take me in time to the music. Take me away to the twilight zone. Take me away to the twilight zone. Take me away to the twilight zone. Take me away.
As you know, DUM actually recently got ripped off by a thing called Mud, and that's literally DUM backwards. And I can't believe it, but we became friends with them, and they're really cool actually really cool. Make art and music, and we just make podcasts. So in some ways, they're probably greater than us. But we've had a new release recently with a lot of the Mud representing producers getting involved on it, and it was for a new band, our mate Eli P, and a singer called Precious, and they're called East Trade, and they released a single on the mudcollective.bandcamp.com/nothing, because that's all it is. And it's called East Trade Pick Up, and it's got a load of remixes from Tony Latigre. And I was also on a beat tape that we're using as the background music in this as well, by Totems High. It's called 30 Producers Deep. You can get that at totemshigh.bandcamp.com. Loads of absolutely awesome instrumentals, as you can hear in the background, and definitely check that out. And what's been going on with you then, Elliot?
Yeah, well, I've actually been working closely with a magazine down in Brighton called Pretty Litter. So I've been working closely with a magazine down in Brighton called Pretty Litter, who are a creative magazine, you know, looking at different artists, music, culture, reviews, and, you know, basically art across the board. I've been writing a lot of features for them at the moment. And yeah, looking forward to the summer. A lot of massive plans in the pipeline. So if you want to check them out, look at their Facebook page /Pretty Litter Mag, or Twitter, which is also Pretty Litter Mag. And yeah, check out what they're doing, and hopefully we'll hear a lot more about them on our show. And
yeah, and in the future, yeah, there's a lot going on there. I think Brighton's a cool place for kind of music and arts and just getting involved, and I'd recommend anyone to live here. If there's any more space left, it does seem to be packed to the rafters.
Yeah, it's going upwards, I think, isn't it?
It's going upwards, yeah, and soon we're probably just going to be above sea level, whereas at the moment we're on a par with the sea.
Yeah, I think if, you know, anything's to go by, 2013 has been a good year for a lot of people I know. You know, if you ever want to call by our house in Brighton, go towards the sea, look up and shout Mitch and Elliott.
So now we're coming to the end of the show. We just heard Murder He Wrote with Breathe, which is off his new EP that you can get over at Skint Records. I think Skint Entertainment might be .com, but if you put in Skint Ent, yeah. I had a good show tonight. We've learned about Elliott's adventure in the condescending dentist.
It was a very nice afternoon though, wasn't it?
It was a nice afternoon. It was like the first day of not winter. And now we have our usual section, DUM Points of View. So we have a letter here. It's from a Mr. Batcock, and he says, "Where do you find the time to do DUM when there's only 4 hours in a day?" Well, that's from Pluto. So we need to probably explain to him that we're not on the same planet as him.
I mean, first of all, I think we need to establish the fact that Pluto is not a planet, it's a moon. Make more time in the morning to, prepare for the day. Get that coffee in the pot ready to put on the hob when you're in the shower. Brush your teeth while you're in the shower. Then, obviously, if you want to, go toilet in the shower. Use your foot to put it down the drain. It's entirely up to you how you go about it. I always feel that works best for me.
I try and do everything I can in the shower, and then, except for kind of getting clothes on because you don't want to catch your death, as they say. Like, you basically just get the coffee granules in the mug, jump it in the shower, brush your teeth, use the hot water from the shower to fill up the coffee mug. While you're doing it, brush it, drink it, have the toilet, dry yourself in the shower, and then just get your clothes on. There you go, Bob's your uncle.
Yeah,
or
and
dad.
Exactly. Bob's my uncle and my dad. We've actually just got a letter here from a Mr. Fumbles. He's actually from Middlesbrough. Dear Dum, I'm writing this letter in the hope that you will have me for a week's worth of work experience. I come equipped with a variety of different skills, including accent making, puzzle doing, and the general well-being. And then he kind of scrolls off the page slightly and doesn't really say anything else.
And what was his name?
Mr. Fumbles.
Not Mumbles. I would take anyone on a work experience thing. Obviously, we can't pay you. That just goes without saying, especially in all kind of work experience roles.
What would David Cameron do?
David Cameron would probably just inflate his cheeks as he normally does, and then just kind of deflate them as he would afterwards. But Mr. Fumbles, if you were called Fumbles, kind of puts me off because I don't really want to fumble. If you were called Mr. Mumbles, kind of puts me off because you got to speak clearly. This is a professional audio posse.
Ensemble.
Posse.
You're so pretentious.
And then we got one more, and it's from Mr. Fox, and he says, in one of your dumb episodes, you talked about foxes and how they would go rummage around in rubbish and just do all sorts of mischief. I find that really, really insulting. You also said that foxes were ginger, which I find insulting because I'm actually a grey fox. What are you going to say about that, Elliot? You started it.
Well, I did read the other day that in Germany they actually have a show for foxes to try on a selection of different shoes and slippers, which I suppose would help his, inferiority complex and the fact that he's going grey at such a young age. But I think there's also a lot of focus groups of foxes to come together, talk about different problems, the most popular being the hunt, which is a bit of a, an NPC expression, I suppose. A lot of them kind of like to call it the gathering.
The hunt.
Keep your dump coming back in to us for the show. We always love to, hear your thoughts, and we always try our best to kind of answer to the best of our abilities. But yeah.
Now the hard work begins. See you next time, kids.
Keep making rings.
Now we have the CSI satellites, Blue Sky Pro Assist. That's my friend Unique, and it just sounds amazing, really. So definitely have a listen.
We're gonna be looking at the spiders around the room.